But I think that can segue perfectly into one of the other questions that this continues to raise. And as we said, we got a lot of answers with the Kaminoans hired, whether they hired Cad Bane, who hired Finnick, or they hired a bunch of bounty hunters or whatever. They mentioned that they have a contingency plan in this, and we've heard them talk about their plans before, and we haven't seen the Kaminoans since episode 3. Like, we haven't seen Kamino or anything like that in a long time, and so it continues to beg the question now that they hypothetically have Omega because Cad Bane has her, and what if they do use Crosshair for something? They don't seem very interested in the other Bad Batch at all, so they just need Omega, which continues to beg the question on what is Omega's ability and why is she so important to them. But also, yeah, what is it that they're planning, and also why is there so many steps to this plan? Like they could have just kept Omega there, but they didn't. They let her go with the Bad Batch, and so now that they have her back, what is this contingency plan and what does this look like? Because now moving in the second half of the show, I think that should be a major plot point, and kind of like when I was referencing in the non-spoiler review that the biggest surprise to me was that Omega was captured. Like, I did not think I felt like that was an episode 13, 14 type of plot point. Kind of like Mandalorian did it, where we got Grogu captured in the second to last or the third to last episode. Then the second to last episode was them getting the resources and everything they need to go get him back, and then the finale was going to get him back. And so I was expecting that more towards the end, but since she's gone and she's been kind of the heart and soul of this show since the first episode, now we have hypothetically 8 episodes without her in the squad, without her in the Bad Batch every day. So this is going to be interesting. But yeah, the Kaminoan plan, I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on what it could be? We don't really have any more hints on anything.
We don't have any hints to the plan, but I think we have elements that we can pull from that we can discuss. I think, look, Fennec seems to be like their first point of contact, but when Nala Se was talking to the Prime Minister, I don't know if Cad Bane and Fennec are working together as much as we think they are. I think maybe she's been trained by him, maybe she's part of like his teachings, his school of thought, school of practice. But, you know, the prime minister is like, it doesn't matter what they feel. We have to do what's best for us. So, I mean, I don't think Fennec will be pleased that Cad Bane has kind of taken her bounty. Um, I think that's what they've been seeming to imply. So I'm pretty sure we're going to see a lot more bounty hunter action. Obviously, at some point, Boba Fett, but still, I think we're going to get a lot more there. As far as, I mean, they got Omega, but Omega's, it's very clear she's not a soldier. So, I mean, what can you realistically do with her? I think her cells are more useful than her at this point. Um, I know a lot of people have been wondering, she got an inhibitor chip that she's not aware of. There are fail safes for her that she's not aware of. I would not be surprised. But I guess my issue with her being back, she's not going to become like, okay, here's the future of the Empire. I don't know, she has potential on an extended timeline, but she doesn't have a potential for the timeline that the Kaminoans are on. Um, I mean, I think it's pretty important. We have to look at the bomb scene, the smoke bomb scene, where she's learning how to disconnect the wires properly. She doesn't have flash training like the rest of these clones have. She doesn't have all these algorithms and programs. No matter how quickly you can train her, she's not going to have those. Maybe they do something with aging with her. Maybe they force her to age up faster. I think that'd be pretty interesting to see if they could actually force a late stage acceleration. Um, it'd be interesting and fascinating to give her a bit more of a darker edge, even though she's been like Omega to be protected. I will die for Omega sort of vibes, right? From the Bad Batch. And from the fandom. She herself has been more like the wanderer, starry-eyed kid, right? Perspective. She's been the kid perspective of the show, and she's being treated far more directly than Ahsoka has. Ahsoka was a lot of mess up and grow, fandom didn't love her and all, but now we do. But she went through a journey. I don't think Omega's allowed to go through that journey. For she's really just an asset for a lot of people for the Empire. She might be disposable, and they don't know her about her yet. For the Bad Batch, she is. They're part of their family, their squad. For the Kaminoans, she's an experiment. I, I don't. I mean, the only thing that I could possibly think of, but is also a spoiler for a toy. I don't know. Should I mention toy spoilers here? I I don't know if I should.
So
Uh,
whatever you think.
okay, eventually. All right. If you're hearing this, I'd say avoid the next minute or two of what I'm saying. This is like deep spoilers. So we've seen, some figures be announced, sort of. So it's not like completely out of the blue, but we're going to see a character called Clone Captain Ballast, and he's got the markings of like a clone during the Clone Wars. It's kind of like teal green, and he could easily just be one of the rogue clones that, rejected Order 66 without the chip being removed, or maybe he removed his chip. We don't know, and he's working with Rex. I think that's more likely what's going to happen with him. But if the Kaminoans really want to show an enhanced soldier that's better than, mass conscripted stormtroopers, I guess you'd want to take whatever technology, whatever work that they did, experimentation with Omega, and kind of implant it onto a clone that's available as useful. I don't know. I think that's a stretch for me there, even thinking about it. But like you mentioned, I didn't even think about it. But maybe Crosshair could be given the chance to be kind of combined with Omega's uh, brain chemistry modifications, whatever, being injected into him. There's that possibility. Uh, I don't know. It's very hard to really see what the Kaminoans want. The only thing we really know is that they're willing enough to ruin their relationship with whatever bounty hunters that they hired, causing tension between Fennec and Cad Bane probably. But they're also on a tight timeline. And Omega does not seem, you can't dress Omega up and make her be a soldier. She's not. She's learning how to be one. She's useful as a kid. She's like Kid Anakin crawling around doing the little things you need to do, but she's no enhanced soldier. I don't know. No one's going to take orders from a kid anyways either.
Right. My mind just kind of keeps going back to not really much to do with soldiers, but more so, as we've kind of said, if she does have force sensibilities, if she does have something in her cells that might be useful to them, but maybe not. I'm wondering, because they had direct contact with Count Dooku during the Clone Wars. How much do the Kaminoans know, right? Like, do they have contact with Palpatine? Do they have like a direct line to Palpatine? And do they know what Palpatine likes? Like, I could see Omega being almost more of a bargaining chip. Like, hey, we can make these sensitive clones, force sensitive clones for you, and this is the first one. But you got to make us stay as your manufacturers for the Empire so that we have enough money to be able to do this stuff for you and manufacture this army for you. I could see it more so like that. Like, I don't know. It's interesting because in Legends, they've had a variety of different relationships with Palpatine directly, up to like direct relationship with Plagueis and a relationship with Tyrannus and all these characters, but we don't really know their direct relationship in this. All we know is they had a direct line to Count Dooku to talk to them during when Order 66 went wrong, and he was like the one they called. And they obviously know he's
Right,
leading the
right.
other armies. So how involved are they with like the Sith and the Sith plan and ultimately with Palpatine once Dooku's gone? Who knows? And I'm kind of going in that route where maybe They see, yeah, there's no way we're going to be able to convince the military to keep us around, but maybe if we can get on Palpatine's good side, almost like Thrawn gets on Palpatine's good side and is able to have that
Yeah,
direct line. I could see that.
I could see
That's a
that.
cool way of
Yeah.
going.
I mean, either way, Omega's an asset, right?
Yeah.
The only people who care about her are the Bad Batch, but the only one who doesn't see her as an asset is definitely Crosshair. He wants to just kill her.
Yeah.
um, yeah, I mean, but there's also like in Legends where at the final year of the war, Palpatine literally uses one of the Coruscant moons to um, kind of just raise clones in a year instead
Mhm.
of 10 years like the Kaminoans do, and uses like intense flash training. There's like a specific name for them. Like, um, I want to look it up real quick, but uh,
Yeah,
yeah,
that could very well be the case, and kind of like we speculated a few weeks ago on Dr. Pershing and stuff like that. Like, who's to say Palpatine doesn't backstab them eventually? But this is the start of that relationship where they teach Palpatine basically everything they know, and then eventually he's like, "All right,
right,
I don't need you anymore."
right. I
Um,
mean, it's really weird because I think it's cloning has been such a prevalent thing in Star Wars, but I mean, we have to also consider how cloning is in the sequels. We know that the clones that Palpatine have are diminished. They're not, all technically gifted as he wanted it. Like every body he goes into, he's kind of held up by
yeah,
Sith alchemy and all these strange, monstrous creations that his acolytes and everyone keep him alive for. I mean, he's literally in a rotting body. Um, I yeah, it's I don't know. Like I can see him finally being involved. Like, okay, show me your ways if you really want to be useful to me, because I need to make use of this. But what I mean, and I can see him definitely like be like, okay, thanks for the information, you're gone.
yeah,
But the Kaminoans are also smart enough to put fail safes in whatever they give to him.
hmm
So it's like, how much are they going to reveal? How much is this partnership going to go anywhere? It's tough. I don't really know what to expect from the Kaminoans yet. I think all we've known so far is like, okay, Omega may be force sensitive. Either way, she's a gifted, she's a defect. The clones don't. Clones are just normal. The Bad Batch are defects. The Empire doesn't know that they weren't referring to Echo, but to
right,
Omega. But what? And but they're also like, okay, we're under pressure. They're gonna replace all of our clones with conscripted stormtroopers. We don't know what their contingency is because yeah, like you're saying, there's also just they're gonna do whatever they need to like stay alive, and if it means that they can't be the biggest sellers of troopers anymore, they doesn't mean they're not valuable. But at the same time, they're gone at some point. Their
right.
cloning assets aren't used to the same degree or perfection by the sequel era, even with all that Sith power. I mean, it's gonna be interesting. I don't really know what we can really say about them.
And this is definitely the biggest question that was not answered and still seems to be the most prominent question that will be set up for the second half of this season, and that's kind of where we're
Right.
going. It feels like it. Thanks so much for watching this segment of the Star Wars Lads podcast. If you enjoyed this content, please like the video by clicking the thumbs up button down below and subscribe to our channel for new Star Wars content every single week. If you want to watch our full discussion, click the video on the left, or if you want to check out one of our other awesome videos, click the video on the right.